the wind sweeps across the Heartland ranch. The sun rises over the golden fields, but something feels different this time. Amy stands alone, watching the horses run free, carrying the weight of change in her eyes. After everything that happened, in episode 1, one thing is clear. Life at Heartland is about to shift again. Love, loss, and destiny are ready to collide in season 19, episode 2, and it might just change everything. As the new day begins at Heartland, the ranch seems peaceful, almost too peaceful. The birds sing, the horses graze quietly, and the morning light feels soft and gentle. But deep inside, everyone knows this calm won't last long. Episode 2 opens with Amy trying to bring back a sense of normal life. After the emotional roller coaster of episode 1, she's been working harder than ever, training horses, helping clients, and keeping herself busy to avoid the silence that follows her everywhere. There's a moment where she walks through the stables, brushing her hand against the old wooden walls. Every corner of the ranch holds a memory of her family, her love, her losses. The camera lingers on her face for a few seconds, quiet, thoughtful, and brave. You can almost feel her trying to hold herself together. This is the Amy we've come to love, strong but vulnerable, brave but human. Meanwhile, Jack is outside fixing a fence, his usual morning routine. But something about his expression seems heavier. He pauses for a second, looking out at the open field, his hat shadowing his eyes. It's as if he senses something coming, a storm, not of weather, but of emotions. Heartland has always been about family, facing challenges together, and this moment feels like the calm before something big. Lou, on the other hand, is struggling with her own choices. Running the ranch, managing the family, and dealing with her responsibilities are taking a toll on her. In one quiet scene, she sits at the kitchen table, staring at a letter, a decision she's not ready to make yet. The background music swells softly, carrying that familiar Heartland feeling, emotional, real, and close to home. And as all these small moments play out, there's a sense that everyone is standing on the edge of change. Something is coming. Something that could bring the family closer or pull them apart. The camera pans over the Heartland sign at the ranch's entrance, and the music shifts slightly from calm to curious. It's almost haunting. This is how Heartland Season 19, Episode 2 begins. Slow, emotional, and filled with meaning. It reminds us why this show still touches hearts after so many seasons. The story doesn't need explosions or big twists. It's the quiet moments, the emotions, and the deep connections that make it powerful. And as this episode unfolds, the peace we see in the opening scenes will soon give way to decisions that could change everything. Episode 2 doesn't just move forward, it pulls us back into the echoes of Episode 1, reminding us that the past still has its grip on the ranch. The first episode of Season 19 wasn't just a fresh start, it was a test of strength, forgiveness, and moving on. Amy tried to rebuild not just the ranch, but herself. Yet no matter how strong she looks, some wounds don't heal in silence. In Episode 1, we saw Amy face a world that's constantly changing. Her bond with the horses, the one thing that always kept her grounded, was tested like never before. A young horse, wild and scared, mirrored Amy's own emotions. Training that horse wasn't just about control, it was about connection, trust, and facing pain head-on. That storyline set the tone. Heartland is no longer about comfort, it's about courage. Jack, the family's rock, carried his quiet wisdom like always, but even he struggled to keep the family together. The ranch's future hung in the balance, and with every scene, it became clear this season isn't just another chapter. It's a turning point. Lou, torn between her duties and her dreams, had to make choices that could shift everything for the family. Her story in Episode 1 showed that leadership often comes with loneliness. The pressure of being the one everyone looks to while hiding your own pain created moments that hit deep for longtime fans. And then there was that moment, that single, silent shot near the end of Episode 1. Amy sitting by the fence, watching the sunset, her eyes glistening with memories of those she's lost. No words were spoken, but the silence said everything. It was the kind of Heartland moment that stops time. A reminder of love, loss, and life's endless rhythm. As episode 2 begins, those memories still hang heavy in the air. You can feel it in the way Amy moves slower, in the way Jack's eyes linger on the horizon, in the way Lou avoids certain questions. The ranch might look peaceful, but everyone's carrying something. The camera might not show it directly, but the emotion lives in the details. A soft sigh, a look exchanged, the creak of the barn door. It's these quiet moments that make Heartland special. Episode 2 isn't just about what's next. It's about what's left behind. The choices made in episode 1 will ripple through this new chapter, shaping every scene, every line, and every heartbeat. Because in Heartland, the past never really disappears. It rides alongside you in every sunrise, every hoofbeat, and every memory that refuses to fade. The sky above Heartland feels heavier now. The golden light that once wrapped the ranch in warmth begins to fade into gray. There's no thunder yet, no rain, but something's in the air. A shift. The kind that makes you stop for a moment and listen to the silence. That's how episode 2 begins to change its tone. Slowly, quietly, but powerfully. Amy wakes before sunrise, unable to sleep. The world outside her window feels still, almost waiting. She steps out into the cold morning air, her boots pressing softly into the dirt. Her breath clouds in the chill. Somewhere in the distance, a horse neighs, restless, uneasy. It's as if the animals can feel what the humans can't say out loud. The writers of Heartland have always known how to use silence as their strongest voice. In this episode, silence becomes tension. Every look between characters holds unspoken words. Every pause feels like it's protecting a secret. Amy's trying to stay strong, but something inside her is cracking. Not in a dramatic, loud way, but in the kind of quiet breaking that hurts the most. At the barn, she meets Jack, who's already working, pretending to be fine. He talks about fixing the south fence, about feed deliveries, about anything except what's really on his mind. Amy senses it. She asks if he's all right. He gives his usual half-smile that "don't worry about me" look, but his eyes say otherwise. He's worried not just about the ranch, but about Amy, about the family, about what's coming next. Lou walks in a few minutes later, holding her phone, her face tight with frustration. A call from the city, a problem at the office, another responsibility pulling her away. The ranch was supposed to be her peace, her balance. But lately, it feels like a reminder of everything she's trying to hold together. She doesn't say much, but the tension in her shoulders tells the story. Then, there's a sound. Faint, distant, a truck pulling into the driveway. Amy looks up, surprised. No one was expected. The camera pans toward the road, dust rising as the vehicle slows. The music shifts, low and slow, a hint of suspense under the soft piano score. Someone steps out of the truck, their face unseen, shadowed by the light. It's a simple scene, but it changes everything. As the moment feels small, yet charged with mystery. Who is it? Why now? Every fan knows. In Heartland, visitors rarely come without reason. As the episode unfolds, the calm rhythm of ranch life begins to tremble. Conversations feel shorter. Old emotions start to rise again. Secrets that have been buried since last season begin to surface. The storm isn't just in the sky, it's within every heart at Heartland. The wind picks up, pushing the trees, and a single gust rattles the barn door. A sign, perhaps, that the peace everyone has been holding on to is about to break. The calm has ended. The storm has arrived. And for the Bartlett-Fleming family, nothing will be the same again. The sound of gravel crunching beneath tires fades into silence. The truck door opens, and the stranger steps out, boots hitting the ground with quiet confidence. The ranch dogs bark, breaking the still morning air, but Amy doesn't move. She just watches, her heart caught between curiosity and caution. The visitor's face is still hidden under a worn-out hat, the kind that's seen too many roads and too many stories. Jack walks up slowly, eyes sharp, hand resting on his belt buckle, that silent protective stance he's always had. "I help you?" he asks, his voice calm but firm. The stranger lifts his head, revealing a faint smile. There's something familiar about him. Not the kind of familiar that feels safe, but the kind that stirs old memories. the kind you thought you'd buried for good. Amy steps closer, her boots echoing softly. "Do I know you?" she asks. The camera lingers on her face, searching, confused, hopeful, afraid. The man hesitates before speaking, his voice low, steady. "You knew my father," he says. And with that one line, the air seems to thicken. Jack's eyes narrow, his jaw tightens. Right. He knows exactly what that means. The background music shifts. Slow piano turns to deep strings. This isn't just a visitor. This is a ghost of the past walking back into their lives. The man introduces himself as Luke Carson, a name that doesn't mean much to Amy at first. But it means something to Jack. Jack looks away for a moment, the weight of memory pressing down. The name Carson belonged to a man Jack once rode with years ago, before Heartland became what it is today. A man whose life ended too soon, leaving behind questions and regrets that were never spoken about again. Amy, still unsure, invites the stranger into the barn. She offers him coffee, a small gesture, but one that carries that Heartland kindness. As they talk, Luke's eyes wander across the space, the saddles, the horses, the photos on the wall. There's something tender, almost haunted in the way he looks at them. He's not just here for a visit. He's here searching for something or someone. Lou enters the scene a few minutes later, holding a stack of papers mid-conversation until she sees the man. She stops. There's a pause, a heartbeat of recognition she can't quite place. Jack steps in, his voice calm but heavy. He's a Carson. Lou's face changes. Whatever peace the morning had is now gone. The next few minutes unfold like a slow unraveling. Luke explains that he's been looking for Heartland, that his father once promised to visit, but never got the chance. He says he's been trying to understand who his father really was, and somehow all roads led here. But underneath his polite words, there's something deeper, something he's not saying. Amy senses it. Jack knows it. The camera cuts between close-ups, Amy's eyes narrowing in thought. Jack's face hardening with memory, Luke's gaze fixed on the family photos. The tension doesn't explode. It simmers. Quiet. Heavy. Real. The kind of scene that Heartland does best. No shouting. No chaos. Just emotions whispering louder than words. As the scene closes, Luke steps outside, looking over the open field, the same way so many before him have done. The wind pushes through the tall grass. He says softly, almost to himself, "My father always said this was a place where hearts heal." Amy watches him, silent, unsure whether to believe him, or to be afraid of what his arrival might bring. Because sometimes, when the past returns, it doesn't come to stay, it comes to stir everything you thought you'd left behind. Night has fallen over Heartland. The soft hum of crickets fills the air, and the porch light casts a golden glow across the old wooden steps. Inside, the family sits around the table, quiet, thoughtful, avoiding the subject that sits between them like a shadow. Luke Carson's arrival has shaken something loose, something everyone can feel, but no one wants to name. Amy sits by the window, her eyes lost in the dark horizon. The reflection of the ranch lights flickers in the glass, calm on the outside, restless within. Her mind drifts back to her father, to all the times he told her that every person who comes to Heartland carries a story. And now, she wonders what story Luke is carrying and why it feels so unfinished. Jack leans back in his chair, staring into his coffee. He's been quiet all evening, but that silence is heavy. Lou finally breaks it. "You know something, don't you?" she asks softly. Jack doesn't answer right away. He takes a slow breath, sets the cup down, and looks up. His eyes tell the truth before his words do. "I knew his father," he says quietly. "We worked together once. A long time ago. He wasn't a bad man, but he made choices that cost him everything." Amy turns from the window, her voice barely above a whisper. "What kind of choices?" Jack's gaze drifts toward the barn, as if the answer lives out there in the dark. "The kind that don't let you sleep at night," he says. His tone isn't angry, it's tired, like a man carrying a memory that's been too heavy for too long. The room falls silent again. The fire crackles softly in the background. You can feel the weight of years pressing down. Lou leans forward, her voice gentle but steady. Do you think Luke knows? Jack shakes his head. Maybe not. Maybe that's why he's here. Outside, Luke stands alone near the corral, staring at the stars. His silhouette moves slowly, almost blending into the night. He pulls a small photograph from his jacket, an old worn picture of his father beside a horse that once belonged to Heartland. There's a faint writing on the back. For Jack, some promises never die. He holds it tightly, eyes glistening. There's pain there, but also purpose. Luke isn't just visiting the ranch. He's looking for answers, for truth buried beneath years of silence. Back inside, Amy can't shake the feeling that his arrival means more than coincidence. She feels drawn to help him, even though she doesn't fully trust him yet. Heartland has always been a place where people find healing, but sometimes healing begins with reopening old wounds. The wind outside grows stronger, brushing through the trees. The camera pans upward to the sky, clouds drifting over the moon, a quiet symbol of what's to come. The shadows of the past aren't gone. They're just waiting for the right moment to return. Amy closes her eyes, her thoughts whispering the question that lingers in every fan's heart. What happens when the past you've tried to forget comes home? The answer? That's what episode 2 is about to reveal. The next morning rises quiet but uneasy. Mist rolls across the fields, soft and ghostly, like the past refusing to disappear. The ranch looks peaceful again, horses grazing, sunlight cutting through the fog, but inside the walls of Heartland, nothing feels the same. Jack is already outside, chopping wood. Each strike of the axe echoes through the air like a heartbeat of frustration. He's not just fighting the wood, he's fighting memories. Every swing is a piece of the past he wishes he could bury. But the truth has a way of clawing back to the surface, no matter how deep it's been hidden. Amy steps out of the house, watching him quietly. She's been thinking about Luke, about his father, about the strange connection Jack refuses to talk about. She knows that look in her grandfather's eyes. It's the same one he had when Ty first came into their lives, cautious, protective, afraid of history repeating itself. "Grandpa," she says gently, "you can't keep holding everything in." Now Jack stops mid-swing. He sets the axe down, wipes the sweat from his brow, and looks at her. Not angry, just tired. Some things are better left buried, Amy. Digging them up only hurts more people. But Amy doesn't back down. "Maybe," she says softly, "but maybe that's how we finally move on." Those words hang in the air like a whisper from the wind. Jack doesn't respond, but his eyes flick toward the barn where Luke is working quietly. Repairing a broken saddle later that day, the tension finally breaks. Luke approaches Jack, holding the old photograph again. "You never told me," Luke says, his voice trembling but controlled. "You were there that night. You saw what happened to him, didn't you?" Jack stiffens, his silence confirming everything. The sound of a distant horse neighing fills the pause. Amy watches from a distance, her heart pounding. "I came here," Luke continues, "because I needed to know the truth. My father's name was dragged through the mud. But I've read his letters. He wasn't the villain everyone made him out to be." Jack's jaw tightens. "He wasn't a villain," he says finally, his voice breaking. "He was a good man who made one bad choice, and it cost him his life." The camera focuses on Luke's face, anger and sadness battling in his eyes. "Then why didn't you tell me sooner?" Jack looks down, unable to meet his gaze. "Because sometimes, son, the truth doesn't heal, it haunts." The barn falls silent. Dust floats in the air, golden and heavy in the light. Amy steps forward, bridging the space between the two men. "Maybe," she says, her voice calm and steady, "but it's better to live with truth than lies. Heartland was built on honesty, on trust. That's what keeps us strong." The camera pans out slowly, Amy standing between two generations of pain, trying to mend what time and silence have broken. The music swells gently, not loud, but heartfelt. The signature Heartland sound that carries both sorrow and hope. Luke's expression softens. He takes a slow breath, eyes glistening. "My father always said this place changes people," he whispers. "I think I finally understand what he meant." Jack nods once, a small, wordless truce. The moment doesn't fix everything, it doesn't erase the past, but it's the start of something new. As the wind moves through the open doors of the barn, Amy looks out at the fields, the same land that's seen heartbreak, love, and countless new beginnings. The truth is out now, and with it, the chance to heal. Because in Heartland, every secret eventually finds the light, and every wound, no matter how deep, carries the promise of peace. The night has passed, and with it, the weight of silence. As the first rays of morning stretch across the fields, the ranch awakens not to noise, but to peace. The storm that once hung heavy over Heartland has broken, leaving behind the quiet stillness that follows every truth finally spoken. Amy steps outside, a coffee cup in hand, her eyes drawn to the horizon. The air feels lighter now, cleaner, as if the land itself has exhaled. The camera drifts across the ranch, the horses grazing calmly, the barn door swinging softly in the breeze, the family's shadows long and golden in the rising sun. Inside, Lou sits at the kitchen table writing a note. Her face is calm, still tired, but peaceful. She glances at a family photo on the wall, then smiles faintly. The challenges haven't disappeared, but they've become easier to carry now that the truth is out. Across from her, Jack sips his coffee in silence, the kind that feels like comfort, not distance. Outside, Luke stands near the corral, watching the horses. Amy joins him, her steps slow, thoughtful. There's no tension in the air anymore, just a quiet understanding. Luke turns to her, a faint smile crossing his face. "My father was right," he says softly. "This place really does heal you, but not in the way you expect." Amy nods. "Heartland doesn't fix the past," she replies. "It helps you live with it." They stand together for a moment, looking out at the open fields. The sun rises higher, bathing everything in gold. A single horse runs across the pasture, free, wild, beautiful, a living symbol of what this place means: freedom, forgiveness, and the courage to start again. Jack steps onto the porch, watching them. For a moment, he looks older and then lighter, as if a part of him that's been carrying guilt for years has finally found rest. He removes his hat, lets the wind brush against his face, and whispers to himself, "We keep moving forward." Always, the music swells, soft piano and violins blending into that familiar Heartland theme. The camera pans upward, catching the ranch in full morning light, bright, live, and peaceful once more. A new chapter has begun. The family stands together, not perfect, but whole. Each of them changed by what they've faced, yet bound by the same love that's carried them through every season. And as the screen fades to black, Amy's voice echoes one last time. At Heartland, every ending is just another beginning. The land heals, the heart remembers, and life always finds a way to start again. The words linger as the screen flashes. Heartland Season 19, Episode 2, coming soon.